thank you all very much for coming. Děkuji moc krát. Thank you in particular because I think quite a lot of people in this room have not been here before. Quite a lot of people have travelled from outside Prague, and also because this is a new event for us. I also wanted to welcome in particular Eva Jurična, who, if I say rather to my surprise, Eva, it was a very agreeable surprise when we approached her and asked whether we could collaborate on this project. Eva said yes, and I'm hugely grateful to you for doing that. So, what is this project? It's called the Ambassador's Award, and that embarrasses me slightly because it implies that the ambassador is important, which he sort of is in terms of the office, the public role, but which he sort of isn't in terms of the person. Nevertheless, Ambassador's Award in English sort of assonates, I think that's the technical word, and we couldn't think of a better name for it. What's it about? Well, what it's not about is the British somehow feeling that we have anything to teach people in this country. We were talking a few minutes ago about the period of transition, the end of communism, and maybe in those days experts used to fly in to teach ex-communists how to be capitalists or whatever, but whatever it was a long time ago. What we want to do is to celebrate volunteering, charity, helping other people, empowerment, diversity, all values which we have in common, people in the Czech Republic and people in Britain. And why have we started celebrating those values now? Well, because we have a sense that they're under threat. Because you can't take for granted in Europe anymore some of the things that we took for granted in the past. That's the sort of abstract, the theoretical bit of what I wanted to say. But how are we celebrating? Well, we invited people, everybody, anybody, to nominate people whom they knew for an award which was to do with helping other people in one way or another. And we were thrilled that so many people, including people in this room, gave us nominations. So we had really quite a lot, tens of candidates for the 2 awards that we're about to give out. One for younger people, one for people I shouldn't call older. We've been through a process, and Eva's been part of it, whereby we've looked at all those nominations and we've picked 2 shortlists of 3 people each. That means, I'm afraid, only 2 winners and 4 runners-up. But another very important thing to say is that it is fantastic even to be a runner-up, because most people didn't make it this far. That's what I wanted to say. Eva, I forget my script. Would you like to say something as well before we give out the prizes?
Hello. I'm really delighted to be here, and now I think that I just concentrate on the word charity. I mean, if anybody asks me to do anything for charity, I automatically say yes. And then the question is, can I or can I not do it? Why do I do it? Charity is something which goes beyond politics, which has got no borders. And I just have to tell you, last night, and the night before, by complete coincidence, I'm a bad sleeper, so I turned Radio 4, BBC 4 on. And there is a debate which took place in St. Paul's Cathedral when they invited 80 students coming from 24 different countries to debate the problem of Germany when they give the food bags and of food parcels. And somebody said that the German people have got a priority against the refugees. And those students from all those countries were debating whether it is right or not, and whether the charity and this human nature can actually resolve the problem without taking into account the nationalities, families, and just of looking at our first reaction, which is the general need. So, and I won't tell you because it won't be very popular, because I'm sure that every single taxi driver, when I go from the airport to Prague, and tell me how terrible it is that the Czech Republic is going to accept the refugees, and how Czech people are starving and Slovak people are starving. And the same applies to France, and so on and so forth. So I don't want to start a debate, but I think that there is something which is a human aspect of our action, being charitable. And I think that is to be celebrated. And how long it takes us to be able to answer all those questions, I don't know. But if I can do anything symbolically or physically to help it, so here I am. So having been asked to produce a little design for this special award, which symbolically does two things. First of all, it awards somebody for having done something special. Charity doesn't necessarily mean that you give somebody a parcel of food, spaghetti and ketchup, but also to forget about your selfishness and do something for them which is going to improve their life. And I think that the awards, as far as I've seen them, so it actually really deals with these issues, how you can make people put them on their feet and just open a new door and improve their life. And it also symbolically represents something which is a tie between England and Czech Republic. I've been living in England for 50 years, and I had no intention to emigrate. It so happened that in 1968, when I came to England, the Czech embassy decided to abolish my passport and made me a stateless person. I have been taken care of, and now I've been given a chance to learn whatever I could do, which I wouldn't have been able to do under the circumstances in those 22 years of being away. And I have done my best to bring all the skills and all the experience back. So I've been teaching, making possible for students to come to England, learn the experience, which of course we had no chance of doing so. So for me, England and Czech Republic are two homes. And the charity is something which comes from our hearts. There is no rule what the charity can do. I think we have to feel it, and luckily we have been given a gift of being instinctive and emotional people, and we have got lucky to recognize the circumstances when we can help. So what is the better representation than a shape of a heart? And even Václav Havel on the castle had a heart during his reign. So I saw that those two hearts would symbolically represent a connection in the field of this emotional, charitable word. One is with glass and one is in stainless steel. Who hasn't seen our staircases would probably not know that stainless steel is one of the components. The glass is the second component. It's not that I'm trying to repeat those two materials for the sake of repeating materials which we have been used to and which we have been experimenting with for, I think, 50 years since I'm in England. England is an industrial country, and I learned the skill of all those people when I came to England through the skill of people who were the shipbuilders, who lived in the north of England and who had foundries and who did know how to deal with large industrial metal and art industrial units. So symbolically, that stainless steel, which in my case, our best friends and people who have done most of our staircases come from Newcastle. So the north of England, and steel is symbolically something which in my heart represents the country where I live now. Glass. I had a really lucky moment in my life that in 1953 I was not allowed to go to grammar school because my grandfather had a little factory and I came from a capitalist family, so they did not allow me to go to grammar school. And so when my mother complained to the Ministry of Culture by waiting outside the Ministry of Culture, oh no, sorry, I beg your pardon, Education, for 3 days until she spotted him getting out of the car, this big Russian thing. So she said, my daughter is not allowed to study. And he took the piece of paper trying to get rid of her, quite rightly I suppose. And about 2 days before the new school year started, so I was sent to a Russian grammar school to be re-educated. And it was not that I learned Russian from people who left Russia in 1917, but who were university professors who could not teach at universities because of their political profiles. So I suppose it was the best school. And we had 8 hours of Russian language. And I'm only talking to you about it because I learned Russian quite well, because I love those people. I could read Lermontov and Tolstoy in Russian, which is such a great gift for life. I'm still, enjoying the fact that I understand when somebody does the same. So, I was sent as an interpreter to Czech glass exhibition in Moscow in 1959, that is how old I am, as a student of architecture this time. And before that, we had 6 weeks course that they made us familiar with Czech glass. So we traveled through all the factories. They told us about all the techniques, how you make glass. And I fell in love with glass. So hence the connection with the staircases, hence the connection with glass. So, and then hence the connection with Czech Republic. So, connection, metal, stainless steel, and glass coming together, in an integral, invisible joint. I think that should really represent what this award should do. Thank you very much for listening. I talk too much, so I apologize.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, anybody who here saw the Oscar ceremonies last year? Yeah, I think some people did. So Anna, Anna's been a great pillar of strength on this, but I wanted to come and make sure we do this in the right order, so we don't have one of those Warren Beatty Faye Dunaway moments. So why don't you come? And I don't normally use paper, but I just want to talk about the 2 runners-up. Which category should we do first?
So the young person of the year?
So 2 young person of the year runners-up, to whom we are going to give a certificate, remembering that it was a very close-run thing. And the first is Natalia Novakova. Where's Natalia? And Natalia's citation is quite long, but it's about working with young people at a children's home, working with children with disadvantaged backgrounds, teaching photography, teaching English, and making a difference. Our second runner-up is Mate Hosek. Is Mate here? And Mate is a fashion designer with a brand called Mapi, and we'll doubtless be able to tell you all about it later. Currently preparing for a London-themed collection, which I find amazing. And our young person I'll make sure I get this right. Our winner in this category for this first year is Andrzej Zbytek. And Andrzej, according to his citation, is a distinguished scientist already, which is great, but also has made a real special effort to communicate and use his knowledge. So it's not just about being a brilliant scientist, it's about taking that science knowledge and, well, doing all kinds of things for peers and others who are less advantaged to really use it. Award-winning science communication videos, Senate roundtables, a non-profit organisation, donates financial awards, which you're already winning, to people who perhaps need the money more, and so on and so on. We'll share the citations, because they're a long thing to read out, but it would be great if everyone had a chance to see them. Congratulations once again. Now we come on to the slightly less young people, and I'm going to get my papers mixed up, but first of two runners-up is Mate Leisal of the Sue Ryder Foundation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Many of you will know the Dom of Sue Ryder. The embassy has quite close connections with it, and some of you may know that my predecessor auctioned her old Skoda car for it. But it's about nursing home services, it's about palliative care, it's about effectively looking after ill people as far as possible at home or in a nursing home. I mean, a great thing, obviously. Our second, less young runner-up is Dita Prikilova.
That's yours. Thank you very much. It's great thanks for our entire community, so thank you very much.
And Dita founded an organisation called Czexitas, which she can probably describe to you after this event more eloquently than I have, but it's about teaching IT skills to women and girls. So it goes to this point about diversity and equal opportunity. And our winner of this category is Lenka Haikova. And Lenka is a counsellor at the NPO Civic and Law Advisory Centre. And again, I suggest that in a minute or two, we ask her about it ourselves. Now, that wasn't the most beautifully choreographed arrangement. We'll do better next year. But that's the formal ceremony over with. We have some food that way. We have some drink that way, some food that way. Thank you all once again very much for coming. Do please use the opportunity to talk to my team. People from the embassy, can you just put your hands up for a moment? Fantastic. And of course to each other. Thank you. And congratulations lastly to the winners again.